Hey everybody, welcome to the Chris and Dan Show. How are
I'm
you guys
ready.
doing today? Thanks for clicking on this video. So we're going to react to a video about what makes people stupid. So
Wow.
I really have nothing further to add. So
Wow. It
this,
literally is called, I'm looking at it, Bonhoeffer's theory of stupidity.
so it explains what makes people stupid.
Well, all right, let's watch it. I've heard nothing of this, and I think we're all stupid at times, so let's go.
Yeah, this even gets into that.
All right. This theory is stupid.
In
Let's
the
go.
darkest chapter of German history, during a time when incited mobs threw stones into the windows of innocent shop owners, and women and children were
Hey,
cruelly
you don't got to go that far back. You just go back to summer 2020.
Well, sure, but this is alluding to that, right?
Okay. Like, there's much more recent history than this.
humiliated in the open, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a young pastor, began to speak publicly against the atrocities that the regime had produced. After years of trying to change people's minds, Dietrich Bonhoeffer came home one evening and his own father had to tell him that two men were waiting in his room to take him away.
So hang on.
In prison,
Pause.
Bonhoeffer began.
So the Ministry of Truth, which is essentially what is going on there, right?
Yeah.
The Nazis were taking him away because they were saying he was saying stuff they didn't like. So I don't know if you heard, but from all the flack they were catching, the Biden administration over the Ministry of Truth, they've decided not to go forward with that.
Oh, that was like a real thing?
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be called Ministry of Truth, though.
Something like that. Seriously. But the one in charge of it, I can't remember her name. She resigned today because of all the flack she was catching over it, and they're not sure what. I think it was called Disinformation Board or something like that. Essentially, Ministry of
that
Truth.
would make more sense.
But yeah, basically, it's
because you know what, like, yeah, I get it. Disinformation, like, it's a very fine line between what gets censored and what doesn't, which makes potential disinformation get created by trying to get rid of, or at least on the surface saying you're trying to get rid of it.
Well,
but
you don't want to be
the magic of editing is insane. Like, we do need to do something about it because, and I watched those Project Veritas videos too, and they can be edited in such a way that, like, those undercover cameras that catch those people, if you watch one of those, like, Project Veritas, like, if you know editing, I just know simple editing from the YouTubes that we do, there's like thousands of cuts in those things. So, but to the untrained eye, it looks like normal, right? But there's like thousands of cuts. So what they're saying, you can't necessarily prove it's in the right context. So like, it could just be words tied in together. So at some level, we do need something like that. But I don't know if the government level.
I understand what you're saying, but you don't want to be in a situation as Bonhoeffer here was, right? In which you're saying something the government doesn't like, so they're going to take you away.
Yeah, no, that's the extreme outcome of.
But see, I don't think that's that extreme. There's many examples of that over history, right? Recent history.
No, I mean, locking someone up for speaking their mind, their truth, is extreme. That's what I'm saying.
Right. I get what you're saying, but that's why they have, and I don't think it's that effective, but that's why they have plagiarism and not plagiarism,
yeah,
but defamation.
But it's not just plagiarism now. Like,
not plagiarism, I mean defamation. Where
yeah,
you say something about somebody that's untrue.
Yes. What we have to worry about as a society is, as AI gets better, they can take, like, yours and my face right now. There's plenty of our videos online, so they have plenty of data sets to use. They can take our face and make us actually say things in the video that we never said.
Oh,
and post it out there as truth. So
sure,
this is a problem. It goes beyond free speech. Somebody
Okay,
has to
but
police this kind of stuff.
I will take my chances with that over a government uh, deciding what's true and what isn't.
Yes, I don't think government should do that, but I do think something needs to be done about that. It's a
Well,
threat. Like they're gonna just be able
so
to say you said anything and you didn't,
so here's the problem, and
and it'll
this is
be indistinguishable from the truth.
here's the problem, and this video gets into it, and a great deal is that people are easy to control, right? So what you would expect most people to do is to search out other sources for verification of what they just saw, right?
They don't
Like,
do that. Are you
I
kidding?
understand. I understand that, but what I'm saying is, if people were intelligent, they would understand that what I'm getting fed may not be true.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I corroborate what I'm hearing, right, or reading? And people don't do that. They get one source and they go with it.
It's not just It's not just a matter of intelligence. It's a lot of it is a matter of confirmation bias. Like if people hear what they want, they're done researching. They're not gonna go out of their way to research, which takes effort to like disprove what they feel. So that's the problem with hyper editing these videos. You know you have a base, so you're gonna make a video that you know is gonna go viral amongst that
So how
base,
about
and it
this?
happens on both sides.
So how
Both
about
sides
this?
do it.
How about not having a ministry of truth, but requiring any media source that does anything that releases to the public, they have to release an unedited version, right? So at least the truth is out there. So even if they release something edited, like for example, Project
You have to have the
Veritas,
source files
the Project
somehow.
Veritas on their website has everything they've ever released in whole, right? In other words, unedited. So you can go
So
and you can view to see if the unedited version is matching what they're giving you. That's
so let's
edited.
make this simple and show you why this would not be practical. You and I, let's just take this video we're doing, right? Let's say, well, Desiree, we don't have to pretend. Desiree called me when we took a break, right?
Desiree's an
It's
employee.
yeah, this thing's still going on. I talked. I'm gonna edit that out.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're saying is in the source file, it should be in there. But then I
Correct.
don't want that private conversation getting out
That's
there.
too bad. Then you need to get rid of the other file, right? You can't have that edited version in there if you're going.
Man, you strict.
Well, I'm just saying, because if you want to make sure that the message is clear, right, that there isn't something that's being edited to change the context, then you have to have a completely unedited version. That's
Yeah.
what Project Veritas does, supposedly.
Yeah, but Project Veritas can't be trusted either.
I disagree. They've been sued like bazillion times and they've yet to lose.
Yeah, but they're playing the game too. Everyone's playing a game.
Can you prove that?
No, but all the
So, no,
incentives
you're making
are there.
assumptions, but you're making assumptions. So if they've been sued a number of times by New York Times, they've been sued and have never lost for defamation, right? Never lost because they have their unedited version. I've done a little bit of research on them. They have their unedited version and they give that to the court and say, hey, you show us where it's any different, the message.
Yeah.
And it's not. So I think you're making a lot of assumptions there, Dan.
Well, I only have one assumption, and it's that the incentive model, which drives all of content creation, is get as many views as you can. Why would you work against your incentives?
I don't disagree with that, but what I'm saying to you is you can still have the truth in your edited version. Yeah, you're editing it so where it's not this 3-hour file in which there's a lot of stuff in there that's unnecessary. So you edit.
But you're also editing it to be because you know it's going to be provocative and get shared.
Okay, again, I think the overall point to this is you still need to carry the truth, right?
Yeah, I just don't know how if we start policing it.
Right, I just told you how. You have to
Maybe the real answer is just don't police any of it and let the AI go crazy. Because in 10 years, it's going to be where people are going to say, you said this, look at the video, and you're going to say, no, I never did. And it's going to be completely indistinguishable from like a video you would have uploaded, one that an AI created on you.
again, though, I think so. That would be a problem, right? In which,
We're getting there.
okay, well, because you could be framed for anything, right? You could be framed for
Yeah.
murder.
Yeah. Well,
So there
yeah.
needs
I
to
mean,
be some way to avoid that. And
the fear is like more like it's gonna be used. The more of the practical fear is it's gonna be used for like blackmail and extortion and stuff.
absolutely, but you could be framed for all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So that would be a problem. So again, the way I think you avoid that is even in the AI, you have to have an actual version, right? A full version, an unedited version.
Well, the AI version would be the full version. It's just the thing is, it's all fake. They just make your face look so real, like you're actually saying those things.
So yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I'm sure there's a way to tell what's real and what isn't, right? Because what you're talking about is kind of like a cartoon image,
It,
right?
but
CGI.
yeah, Chris, that's the way it is now. But in 15 years from now, what a lot of people are concerned about, it's gonna be indistinguishable from real.
Well, I guess we'll see. There'll be something to deal with at that point, won't there?
Because now you can see the imperfections and all that. Yes, it's true. But 15 years from now, it's supposed to be like just like you see me here and you here. You can make us up at that point, and we can be saying all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll be in 15 years, but eventually, certainly.
Joe Rogan we should react to some of those things later. Joe Rogan posted some stuff already of people making stuff up of him saying it, and even he's like, this looks exactly like a real video of me. I just know that I never said that, but I can't
Right.
prove it.
Right.
So I agree this stuff needs to exist, but I agree with you as well. It shouldn't be government. I just don't know what the solution is.
Well,
Other than we just unplug AI right now. Don't
Well-
let that shit develop
Musk says that's the greatest fear he has for society.
for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
This is just one of them. So yeah,
What
anyways,
about-
we're only 30 seconds into this shit, and we've talked for this poor green dude's been crying for like 10 minutes here.
Bonhoeffer, he's stuck in
All
prison.
right, let's go. Let's go. This is insane. We turned this into a podcast. Chris and Dan show, everybody.
I told
To
you there
reflect on
was a
how
lot of
his
stuff.
country of poets and
It's
thinkers
not us, it's the AIs talking anyway. So you can say whatever you want. It's not
I
you.
told you there would be a lot of content in this 6-minute video.
It's packed. Let's go.
had turned into a collective of cowards, crooks, and criminals. Eventually, he concluded that the root of the problem was not malice, but stupidity.
I like that image of the stupid person.
Garbage
In his
in,
famous
garbage out.
letters from prison, Bonhoeffer argued that stupidity is a more dangerous enemy of the good than malice, because while one may protest against evil, it can be exposed and prevented by the use of force. Against stupidity, we are defenseless. Neither protests nor the use of force accomplish anything here. Reasons fall on deaf ears. Facts that contradict a stupid person's prejudgment simply need not be believed, and when they are irrefutable, they are just pushed aside as inconsequential, as incidental. In all this, the stupid person is self-satisfied and, being easily irritated, becomes dangerous by going on the attack. For that reason, greater caution is called for when dealing with a stupid person than with a malicious one. If we want to know how to get the better of stupidity, we must seek to understand its nature. This much is certain. Stupidity is, in essence, not an intellectual defect, but a moral one. There are human beings who are remarkably agile intellectually, yet stupid, and
We know
others
what
who are
being stupid is.
intellectually dull, yet anything but
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody's stupid at certain things. You
No,
know?
what they're saying though is you can be absolute brilliant, a genius when it comes to say book smart. But
Yeah,
when it
but not
comes to-
street smart.
But when it comes to EQ, you're an absolute moron.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying we know a few of these people.
Well, I'm looking at it from more of a pragmatic level. Like, I know a lot about clinical research. I know very little about being a handyman. You know,
Sure.
I'm like stupid when it comes to that.
But that's not what they're talking about, right? That's not what he's saying here. He's
Yeah.
saying you can be an intellectual genius when it comes to reading a book and learning something. But when it comes to dealing with daily problems of life, you can be an absolute moron.
Oh yeah. Well, that's most of the ivory tower liberals in academia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stupid. The impression one gains is not so much that stupidity is a congenital defect, but that under certain circumstances, people are made stupid, or rather, they allow this to happen to them.
Garbage
People
in,
who live in
garbage out.
solitude manifest this defect less frequently than individuals in groups, and so it would seem that stupidity is perhaps less a psychological than a sociological problem. It becomes apparent that every strong upsurge of power, be it of a political or religious nature, infects a large part of humankind with stupidity, almost as if this is
Okay, we're at least halfway done. So, yeah, this is interesting. I'm reading a book called Wanting. It's the theory of mimetic. So the power of, I think the plural is mimesis, but mimetic thinking. The
Mhm.
author's thesis, and it's impossible to prove him otherwise, is we have very few desires of our own. Every single desire, everything we want, is impacted by what others around us want and those that we look up to or those that we admire.
So
And
when you
so
say
you have very few like true desires of your own.
okay, so when you say wants, that excludes needs, right? Like for example,
Yes.
when I'm hungry, I want food.
Yes.
That has
It
no
means
bearing.
like career aspirations. And then you basically find a mimetic model. So you're like, that guy has the job I want.
Mhm.
What did he do to get there? I'm going to do the same thing. And then you just like, so that means you're going to work 80-hour weeks or whatever the case may be.
Right. Whatever that person did.
And what this
preceded
author's,
you.
and it applies to politics too. I mean, leaders know this because they can leverage all those things, but uh, nobody questions why they actually want to be in that position. They just see it as something they think they want, and so they put themselves in this like mimetic cycle where they're doing things not because they want to, but because someone else did it.
That might be a human kind of either flaw or nature.
It's
I
human
mean,
nature. Yeah.
so the grass is always greener, right?
It's unavoidable, he says, but you should know how to leverage it for good, because
Well,
it's
people
possible
already
to.
people have something and then they see something and hey, that's probably better. I want that, right? I mean,
Yeah,
there's expressions for this. The grass is always greener is an expression for this. So, I mean, it's probably been here since man's been here, right?
yeah, yeah. It's part of human nature, but it applies to like what he's talking about right here too.
is a sociological psychological law where the power of the one needs the stupidity of the other. The process at work here is not that particular human capacities, such as intellect, suddenly fail. Instead, it seems that under the overwhelming impact of rising power, humans are deprived of their inner independence and, more or less consciously, give up an autonomous position.
Hmm.
The fact that the stupid
So,
person is
pause it
often
there.
stubborn must not blind us.
So that last part there, I would say you definitely see happening today on politically on both sides of the aisle.
Oh, of course. People
I
don't
mean,
think for themselves anymore.
if you have two teams, and well, in my opinion, one team's by far worse than the other, but they both do it.
Of course, they both do it because the leadership understands the power of control. And Ray Dalio explained why we're in this stage, but it's natural too. It's part of the cycle. But this explains why people fall in line, basically.
And they become stupid, and
Yeah,
they don't argue with facts; they just ignore them,
yeah.
which is bad.
Elon said it in that video. He said the liberals do, the leftists do it more. We got to react to it, but the leftists do it more out of trusting authority, like authoritarian, and then the people on the far right do it out of religious zealotry and things like that. So, like, they both do it. They both don't think for themselves, really. Is his point. We got to react to that one at some point.
All right.
But yeah, good video, man. Ooh, loaded with all kinds of just digestible info here.
Tidbits.
Yeah, stop being stupid, people. If
Think
you're
for
watching
yourself.
this, you're not stupid.
from
So
the fact that he is not independent.
I was just going to say it's a matter of people allow others to think for them, right?
Yeah, but everyone does it.
I understand
You
that.
do it. I do it.
Sure.
We all do it. And I
But
think mimetic. It's mimetic. It's related to that book I'm reading.
if you don't want to be stupid, seek out alternative opinions other
Yes.
than your own.
Yes. I follow. I don't know what I'm leaning anymore, but I follow both, like, extremists on both sides and everyone in between on Twitter, and I just read what they say. And sometimes the guys I disagree with have good points, and most of the time they don't. That's why I disagree with them. But yeah, more people need to do stuff like that.
Yep.
But I'm still stupid.
In conversation with him, one virtually feels that one is dealing not at all with him as a person, but with slogans, catchwords, and the like that have taken possession of him.
Ultra MAGA.
He is under a
The
spell,
MAGA king.
blinded, misused, and is abused in his very being. Having thus become a mindless
Damn, that's
tool,
kinky.
the stupid person will also be capable of any evil, incapable of seeing that it is evil. Only an act of liberation, not instruction, can overcome stupidity. Here, we must come to terms with the fact that in most cases, a genuine internal liberation becomes possible only when external liberation has preceded it. Until then, we must abandon all attempts to convince the stupid person. Bonhoeffer died due to his involvement in a plot against Adolf Hitler at dawn on the 9th of April 1945 at Flossenburg concentration camp, just 2 weeks before soldiers from the United States liberated the camp.
That's why it sucks.
Action springs not from thought, but from a readiness for responsibility. The ultimate test of a moral society is the kind of world that it leaves to its children, Bonhoeffer once said. Check the description below to read Bonhoeffer's original text, After 10 Years. For more information about Bonhoeffer or to download this video without background music, go to sproutschools.com.
Without background music, people complain about everything. You guys are stupid.
All right, it's over.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Wow.
So you agreed with all of this, a lot of this already, in terms of
Yeah.
group.
I think just being aware of it is a huge step, and most people are not aware of it. Like I'm aware that I'm influenced and can be stupid at times too. And then I catch myself, like, usually it's when I'm agreeing with, because since COVID, I've just been agreeing much more with the right. Like I think a lot of people have been. But I do catch myself falling too far right on certain things, and then I go look at the left's argument, counter argument. I'm like, oh well, that actually is a good point. Like, it's not that simple. Like, people like to just, like he said in the middle of this video, people become autonomous in their thinking. It's like, it's not that simple, actually. And the bigger problem compounding it all nowadays is you have YouTube, you have podcasts, you have TikToks, you have vlogs of people taking, like, what they know people are stupid on both sides, and they know it's going to get shared and get a shitload of views. So they on purpose make things that they know are going to be retweeted and reshared, and even though it's like just the extreme of the truth.
It's worse than that. I mean, you can read a lot of newspaper articles in which, and even great papers like the New York Times does this, where the heading says one thing, and then when you read the body, it completely
Yeah.
contradicts what the heading says.
It's clickbait.
Yeah, even newspapers and magazines do this now, in which the heading, which because a lot of times that's all people read is the heading and maybe the first sentence, and then towards the end of the article, it completely contradicts what the heading says. Right?
I
So-
think it's because of incentives. We're all in the incentive cycle. How do we get more views, clicks? If you write the best article in the world and no one reads it, doesn't matter, right? Or the most truthful article, it's rarely going to be polarizing.
And the funny thing is, I'm going to cite Tim Pool here, who I listen to frequently.
And he's one of those, I love him, but he's one of those guys guilty of doing it. Not his fault. It's his incentives to do this.
See, I would disagree with what you just said there, just because he actually reads articles, right? The articles that are written. And then he uses counter articles to either prove or disprove whatever that article says. But anyhow, oh crap, now you made me forget my train of thought.
He's still playing the same game, though.
Well, with like clickbait, most certainly, right? For the title for their videos.
How many people watch the entire Tim Pool video versus his highlight, like 20
Sure.
second?
What were we talking about when I brought him up?
Stupid people?
No. Yeah, I completely forgot.
But this is why I watch Young Turks, and I watch Tim Pool, and I watch Alex Jones, and I watch Chenk's nephew, or whatever. I mean, I try to not be stupid, and I still fall into it often.
Sure. Well, so did you see where Elon Musk recently said he won't be voting Democrat for any longer? He's never voted Republican, and he won't be voting Democrat any longer.
He didn't say any longer. He said for the time being, he doesn't see himself.
Sure. But do you know why he said that?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Okay, so
on that one.
He talked about the Overton window.
He talked about it being pushed too far, like all agendas being pushed too far to the left.
On his Twitter account, he put an image up of the Overton window and how it shifted, right? Where conservatives haven't moved in 30 years. They still believe the exact same things they've believed over the last 30 years. They've gotten no more conservative, no less, right? They just believe what they believed 30 years ago. And the left has moved so far left that anybody who was in the middle before, like in the middle of the two, is now conservative because they've moved so far left.
Yeah.
Right? That's the Overton window. So
he did say that moderates are increasing based on that Overton window.
Yeah, they're becoming conservative because they have the window's just being pulled too far left.
Yeah. Well, they're still moderates, but they're considered conservatives.
Not according to the leftists because they've moved so far left.
Yeah.
They're now conservatives.
According to leftists, moderates doesn't exist. It's just you are with us or against us. There's no such thing as a moderate.
And you're against us even if you just don't believe one ideal that we have.
Yeah, or even if you like now, it's even further. Like if you don't help us push this ideal,
right?
Not just believe it,
right?
Yeah, man, it's a crazy, messed up world. Like Snoop Dogg says, it's a dog-eat-dog world.
And it's really going to bother me. I can't recall what I was wanting to say.
Well,
thanks, Dan.
You're welcome. This is what we do best.
Yeah, make us forget what we're going to say.
Sorry.
I'll remember an hour from now, and then I'm like, hey, we're going to have to record again.
Yeah, you'll text me. And we'll do reaction again. So, yeah, I mean, let us know what you guys think. If you watch this whole thing, chances are you're not stupid. Or at least you're not as stupid as most. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add.
So there is there was a study done on where people get their information.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm not trying to back my side, my tribe, my team, but it's just a study. There's been a number of them that show.
We know you're ultra MAGA.
No. I hated Trump until about 2 years into his presidency. But anyhow,
and now you're ultra MAGA.
Well, I don't know about ultra MAGA, but yeah, I'd love to see him be president. So
That's ultra MAGA.
but not because I think he was a reasonably good president policy wise, right? Probably the best of my life, policy wise. And horrible with his politics, right? In terms of how he expressed himself and what he wanted to do and everything else.
Yeah, you
Now
need
I think that
both.
would be a great thing. Now I think it would be great for him to do that.
I think it'd be great to have a moderate be president.
No, I disagree. Because the moderates just get pulled to the left. That's my opinion. But
I don't see that.
no, I absolutely
Elon says the moderate's getting pulled to the right.
no. So what happens is the left is going so far left, they're shifting the Overton window, right? So it's making everything that was in the middle of you skew right because that's where the Overton windows move.
Right.
But everything still gets pulled to the left, right? It's like
Oh, like the new normal?
yes.
So you're talking micro and macro.
Yeah. So a moderate's still a moderate.
But isn't that how progress? Isn't that progress? I mean,
well, if you want communism, sure.
well, that's going too far. But like, let's say at one point it was.
That's how it comes to be.
Yeah, but at one point, what was considered extreme was women being able to vote. Right now, that's the new normal. Like women are allowed to vote.
But guess where those things came from? Those came from the right, right? The right was the one that was always up for expanding individual rights, right? And they still are, right? You take the abortion concept, that's expanding individual rights, the baby's rights, expanding their rights, right? So it's always been about expanding individual rights on the right, right?
So conservatives like to expand rights, but they don't like to expand anything else.
To the individual. Those on the left want to expand government authority.
Authoritarianism.
Yeah, they want communism. So, you choose.
But now the left is saying,
rights? I want individual rights.
Well, now the left is using the let's expand authoritarianism by giving marginalized groups rights. Like that's the preface. That's their whole thesis.
Well, because they offer nothing to you. If they were to tell you the truth, nobody would vote for them.
Right.
So what they're saying is the right is bad, they're racist. You vote for us because they're phobic in some way towards your
So it's really, I'm going to have to fact check you, but I believe you. But the Republican Party was the one that pushed for women's voting rights?
So, yeah, and for the end of slavery.
You sure? Is that your final answer?
Yeah, and the end of slavery.
The end of slavery was like you're gonna get debates, but let's go modern, women's rights.
Start with slavery, right?
Right.
The Republican Party was formed to end slavery.
Yeah, but they always say that's a flip. The party's flip. That's too far back.
No, it's not.
Let's make it easier.
Okay, Jim Crow, 1965.
Yes. All right, let's go that
party.
That was Democrat?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the Democratic Party, 1965. Right.
All right.
Lyndon B. Johnson created the Great Society, the welfare package, and he was quoted as saying, "I'll have these N-words voting for us for the next 50 years." Right. So
let's fact check you. I'm going to Google.
The government is there to control you.
Republicans served as the catalyst for the 19th Amendment. There you go. Chris is right. Not to inflate his ego more, but Chris is right.
I'm just telling you, Republicans are about individual rights, individualism.
I like that breakdown. That's good. You taught me something.
And the left is about controlling you and creating bigger government. And how do they get more power? They make people afraid of other people.
They make people fearful that they're losing their rights.
Make people fearful of other people.
But why can't the Republican Party? The Republican Party now has horrible branding. Horrible.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do because they don't fight. Terrible. They don't fight back, and I don't understand why they don't.
Their branding, and Trump is a master marketer, and he's horrible. He did nothing. I don't think he cares about the Republican Party, but he cares about himself. But he like MAGA basically hijacked the brand of the Republican Party, like gun-toting, uneducated. That's like the brand that leftists like thrive on.
What I don't
for
understand
bashing the whole Republican Party.
I'm not a Republican. I'm a conservative. I'm a libertarian conservative. Okay, I'm not a Republican. Matter of fact, I hate most of them. Most, not all. Some of them I like. But if they truly believed, which I do think many of them do, in individualism, why aren't they expressing these values to the general public, right? Here's what Democrats stand for. They stand for slavery. They stand for keeping women from voting. They stand for Jim Crow. They stand for all of these things, which most of the people in the public don't even know. We're the ones that fought for these individual rights, right?
Well, they rather than that, they should just say what they stand for. Make it simple.
Sure, but I'm saying the party as a whole, right? Why don't they release this messaging? I don't get it. Why don't they fight back? When Democrats say you're a phobic of whatever, say, well, tell us why you fought a civil war to keep slaves. Tell us why you fought to keep women so they couldn't vote. Tell us why you fought to keep it so segregation was in place. And you still want segregation today. Tell
Yeah,
us
it makes
why.
sense. Makes sense the way you
They don't
broke it
ever
down.
say this stuff. So I think they're kind of in with the Democratic Party, honestly.
I think we've like on like lifted up and looked into the matrix and
Yeah.
discovered like who's running it. So yeah, anyways, guys, this is going on so long, and Chris and I have a call in 20 minutes, 19 minutes to be exact.
Yep.
Like, subscribe, comment, share, or don't. We don't give a shit, honestly. Bye
No,
bye.
please do.